Irish American Baseball Society has some big news coming right now. A lot of you've already heard about this, but we are so excited to announce the merger with the Irish Baseball Hall of Fame. This is such huge news, and we're going to talk about it a little right now. I am joined, of course, by the founder of the Irish American Baseball Hall of Fame, Shaun Clancy. Thank you so much for being here, Shaun.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks. I'm very excited about today. I've waited probably 2 years for for this to happen, and I'm very excited. John and I have been talking for 2 years. Foley's closed, and we kind of hoped that there might be a 2.0. But the one thing I was anxious was that the hard work and the effort that went into a lot of people to make the hall what was the hall, that it not go die in vain. And here we are about to announce the fact that we're open for business, and that people out there have an opportunity to be a part of this.
Absolutely. And when you say John, we are talking about the founder of the Irish American Baseball Society, John Fitzgerald, who is also with us. But I do want to start asking some questions here for Shaun. When are the nominations for the Irish American Baseball Hall of Fame?
Okay. John, do you want to take that one?
Sure. How you doing, Rick? The nominations will open October 15th, and they will run for 1 month. So the 15th of October to the 15th of November.
That sounds great. Now, who gets to nominate somebody?
So the nominations, every paying member of the Irish American Baseball Society will be able to nominate one person. So if you've got a player or member of the media or an executive that you think is deserving, we're going to post the bylaws probably later this week with the criteria. But if you're familiar with the history of it, there's no surprises there. And it's the bill you can nominate, and then the nominations will be reviewed by a steering committee, and that's Shaun is heading that up, and basically the steering committee will review the nominations, look at the criteria against what you submit. When you submit a nomination, you're going to be asked to provide links or just your reasoning for why you think somebody should be nominated, and then the committee will review that and come up with a slate of 7 nominees that then can be voted on.
So there's also a live chat going on while we do this. And Craig Collins Young says he'll be nominating Jim Palmer. But if I'm not mistaken, Jim Palmer is already in the Irish American Baseball Hall of Fame. Am I correct?
No, Jim is not. Jim is not. He was on our radar, and actually I had an opportunity to interview Jim for the Crack in the Bat section that we do for the society. And let's put it this way, he's still on our radar and very high on the list of people that will be discussed by the nominating committee.
Well, that is definitely a good... Oh.
I'm sorry. No, I just wanted to jump in. Somebody actually asked that the other day in the Facebook group, and I went back and I looked, and I think, Palmer's Irish. Palmer only found out about his Irish ancestry, I think 2018. So he hasn't. He wasn't on the radar for very long because.
Yeah. Well, the story had been out there, but the one thing we weren't sure of was how willing he was to either embrace this. It's a very complicated story that we're not going to get into right now, but it makes for fun reading for anybody who's watching to Google. But that was the thing, was we had heard about it, but like I said, we weren't able to get in touch with him until during the COVID, when we turned out we had a mutual friend. We got to interview him. It was a hell of an interview. And if you get a chance, and all those people out there who are not already members, go and check out the Irish American Baseball Society, and you can go back and see some of these interviews that were done.
That is that is awesome. It's awesome. It's so exciting to have players like that who have been on our shows like the Crack in the Bat and now being nominated for the Irish American Baseball Hall of Fame. Shaun, how excited are you that you're able to bring this back? I know there were some moments where it maybe didn't feel like this day would come again.
Rich, to be honest with you, I never felt that this day would not come. I always felt that in some shape or form that, like the whole would rise from the ashes because, I mean, just the sheer volume of the Irish American society, Irish American community. And a lot of people have reached out to see how we could help it, but I was very anxious that it continue in the vein of where it's at. And that what I mean by that is to continue to focus on not just the past, but also on the future moving forward. And, John and I have been chatting. We have been, in relation to a lot of different things, probably for about the last 5 or 6 years. And this was the perfect opportunity whereby it's a coming together of the society and the hall, and which basically have the same goal. So we've been chomping at the bit to get moving forward, but we had to have all our ducks in a row, and we're glad that there will be a class of 2023.
John, how important do you find the Irish American Baseball Hall of Fame's mission being to the Irish American Baseball Society's mission?
Well, I think, like John said, the goals and what we're all about is always been very similar, and Shaun and I see eye to eye on everything from going back to the 1800s through the Irish impact or the impact of the Irish on baseball today, and it's I think it's important to kind of bring together the fans and the players and the coaches and kind of unite that behind what we're trying to do. And so, yeah, it's really important. I mean, we were always, Shaun and I have always been said, like talking, and kind of trying to understand, what we can do. And this kind of, it's a logical next step for everyone. But I mean, really, like we were kind of, doing very similar things for very similar purposes, and obviously we're good friends. So, it makes a lot of sense, and we think we can do some pretty great things.
Shaun, what makes a great Irish American Baseball Hall of Fame candidate? Because if we look at the National Baseball Hall of Fame, it's basically, with some obvious other little caveats thrown in there, but it's basically, how good were you? What are your stats? Do you hit some of these milestones? You're basically in or you're out based on your career. But this being a specialized Hall of Fame, what makes a good candidate?
When we started doing this, to me, what makes a good candidate, it always basically came down to there were three, if you want to say, prerequisites. Obviously, one is being Irish or having, coming from an Irish background, which is obviously important. Having a connection with the game. And what I mean by having a connection with the game, if you look at the list of people that we've put in everything from clubbies to team owners. And that's what I mean, because it's not just the guys on the field. It's, it's scouts, it's umpires, it's executives, it's media people. It's, these 9 guys don't just go out and all of a sudden the game gets played. So it's a contribution to the game. And the last part is what we've tried to highlight is, the good guys. The guy who basically he might be the 25th guy in the roster. He might be the utility player who doesn't get to play. He may not even have made it to the majors, but you know what? He was well respected within the game, played the game the right way, and took care of the people around him. And that was kind of what's very important. So without, going down the rabbit hole of, well, he did this or he did that or he did the other, whenever it was kind of like, I would talk to people who knew him and I was going to say, hey, this rich guy, is he a good guy? They said one of the best. That's all I needed to know. And that was kind of like the third part. But the first two is just obviously a connection to the game, and that connection, I mean, one of the guys we put in at the very start was Kevin Costner. He had the Irishness, and I mean, his connection is he made probably some of the greatest baseball movies and some of the worst. But and that's basically what it's. So it's a connection. It is a connection to the game, and obviously the Irish heritage.
So this isn't one of those Hall of Fames where if you're somewhat Irish, you have somewhat of an Irish background, and you have ex-war, you're in this Hall of Fame. This has to do with a number of different characteristics that go into making you the perfect candidate. I'm glad that you clarified that, Shaun, because I think that will give people a lot of opportunities to think who they would want to nominate. Now, John, if somebody becomes a paying member of the Irish American Baseball Society today, can they nominate someone?
Yeah. We've got the membership levels we have. We've got a free membership because we want everyone to be a part of this. And those free members can obviously join the Facebook group and discuss who they would nominate. Maybe, it might inspire somebody to look somebody up or look, more deeply into some nominee. But the nominations will start with the green level member up to the gold level member. So the green and the gold will be able to nominate. The gold level members will be able to vote. So everybody has some part of the process. We would encourage the free members to upgrade so they have that nomination, but we would also encourage, every single person that's a member to join the discussion, because there's a lot of good discussion to be had around, who should be the nominees. Like I said, we're going to have a slate of 7, and of those, there'll be 3 voted in. So, there's plenty of people that have that criteria, and there may be some people that don't get in this year that get in next year. It's a really interesting discussion around that, and it's really all about celebrating the game, like Shaun said. So, if they're on the list and they're good guys and women and they added to the game and they contributed to the game and they're proud of their Irish ancestry or their links to Ireland, whatever those may be, that's something we can discuss and we can talk about, and we can have a good discussion about that. So yeah, we're looking forward to it and looking forward to getting this started.
Rich, if I just also just 2 things I would like to say in relation to anybody out there who, they're like, well, why should I join the society? I mean, if you can go back to John there for a second, there's 2 other things I would like to say. One is, this year we started off with a couple of meetups at ball games. We are hoping to add in some, as we come out of the funk that we've been in for the last couple of years, we're going to add in some, members only events around the country where maybe a chance to, have a meet and greet with one of our Hall of Famers, or just come together for dinner and talk baseball. But the other part was, by being a member, you get discounts on some of the awesome merchandise, like what John is, that hoodie. Thankfully, I don't need a hoodie here in Florida, but that hat or the hoodie, I mean, there's some great items. And obviously, the holidays are coming, and for that fan in your life, baseball fan in your life, what could be better? Give them a membership, give them a hoodie, give them a hat. I mean, we're all about, the thing about it is at the end of the day, this is we're embracing our Irishness. We're embracing the connection that all you got to do is go to Cooperstown. That's how this all started. One of my first trips to Cooperstown, and I'm in the hall with all the plaques, and I'm looking at the Duffys and the Kellys and all these Irish names, and I'm like, wow. And then I started to look into it and study it and see the fact that, the early stages of the hall had so many Irish people, and then along comes Foley's, and all these people come in, and at least, on a weekly basis, if not a daily basis, someone who I would know in the game would come in and say, hey, I bet you didn't know I was Irish, but my mother was Irish. I mean, who would have known that, Derek Jeter's grandfather was Irish, or the fact that and our resident, I guess, genealogist, I think has done wonderful work on covering the amount of guys out there that you would never for one second think. That led to us starting an award that we are going to continue, which is named after two members of the media who are very close to me, Pete Caldera and Duke Castiglione, who were both half Irish. And we have Don Wakamatsu, not exactly a big name in Donegal, but Don Wakamatsu, half Irish, half Japanese.
This has been such a great conversation. I'm so happy that we're getting to share this information with everybody. If you are not a paying member of the Irish American Baseball Society and you want to nominate somebody for this, you better become one as soon as possible. Get those nominations in when you get that chance between October 15th and November 15th. But right now, I want to thank John Fitzgerald, founder of the Irish American Baseball Society, and of course, Shaun Clancy, founder of the Irish American Baseball Hall of Fame. This has been a great talk.
Thanks, Rich.